A fleeting black, almost boomerang-shaped silhouette flits fast around the sky, jinking, ducking and diving in an endless aerial ballet around Roscommon town. This is the return of the urbanised swift from far-flung Mozambique to our insect-rich sky in May, and it always seems to signal the beginning of summer heat and holidays.
They feed on insects, so they're basically following the endless summer. They come up to Europe to breed in the summertime, where there's plenty of insects, plenty of nesting opportunities, and then return come August once their chicks have fledged back down to places like the Congo, and where they follow the rains in Africa. And after the rains, there's a profusion of insects. They feed on those all winter and then return back to Europe again. So that's their annual cycle.
Weighing in at just over the weight of a slice of bread, swifts are one of the fastest flyers in the world, with top speeds of over 100 kilometers an hour. Amazingly, apart from when they're nesting, they live their entire lives on the wing, flying around 1 million miles over a lifetime, enough to take them to the moon and back again.
They feed on the wing, which they'll catch their insects by hawking. They'll drink on the wing. They'll literally take sips of water off the top of the canal, off the river, off the lake, and that's how they drink. They even mate on the wing so they can breathe. And the most remarkable thing about them is they sleep on the wing. And they basically turn off one side of their brain and they go into autopilot, and they can drift around up in the sky all night and then return to land to feed the next morning. So it is remarkable. I remember when I was first told about this fact or first read it, I didn't believe it. I thought they were pulling my leg, but yeah, it turns out they're quite remarkable flyers.
Centuries ago, swifts adopted crevices in our buildings as an alternative to those in cliffs or holes in trees. They looked for crevices in church buildings, warehouses and high old dwelling houses. Are they doing that in Roscommon as well?
BirdWatch Ireland surveyed Roscommon County during the summer of 2020 to try figure out what the swift population was in the county. We surveyed 40 localities, which is towns and villages, for swifts, and in 13 we found swifts. Of those, we confirmed nests in 11 localities, and overall we confirmed just under 120 nests, which is really tiny. So we are worried about swifts. The Roscommon population and the trends do reflect national and international trends. Between 1998 and 2016, there was a loss of 58%, a decline of 58%. So that's really concerning. So the Roscommon survey was sort of trying to find out what's going on in the county and how we might be able to address the problem.
How can anyone help these birds to survive?
The swifts are site faithful, so they'll return to the same nest site year in, year out. So by protecting the existing sites is a really good way of retaining them, because you're guaranteed that pair will come back to that very same crack or crevice in the wall where they nest each year. So if you don't change that in any way or block that hole, you're leaving that nest site for them, and it's safe and it's sound. So that's the first step we do. The second thing is we provide new nest sites for swifts, because we are losing nest sites naturally all the time through renovations, through new homes. New homes are passive now. There's no gaps and cracks and crevices in new homes.
So if buildings cannot sustain new nests, BirdWatch Ireland can offer ready-made swift nesting boxes tailor-made just for these little birds.
What you're trying to do is you're trying to make it accessible to swifts, but inaccessible to starlings, which can occupy swift nest sites quite a bit. So this hole is designed and measured, and the shape is to restrict starlings getting in. It's available online. If you go to BirdWatch Ireland website and search swifts, you'll find designs for the boxes and our Saving Swifts guidelines. This here is a typical commercially available swift brick, and these actually get built into the fabric of the walls. So for the likes of architects or people who are conscious of the box maybe looking a bit funny on their building, these are ideal solution. You can get red brick versions, all sorts of versions, so they're a really good solution. And again, because they're colonial, it's a good idea to put up a number at a time. So if I was advising a homeowner next door here to the church who wanted to provide swift boxes, I'd say put up 3 or 4 and a caller. And a caller is just an amplifier with a little external speaker. You plug in your SD card or your USB with preloaded swift calls on it. You can get those from BirdWatch Ireland or online. We're happy to advise. And you run speaker wire from there to your external speaker, which is just bolted to the wall very close to the nest sites. and that'll play the lure during the season, and you can put it on a lamp timer or a digital timer and play it when you're not home or in the hours that there's more swift activity or whatever, so to increase your chances. So that's all it is, very low tech, and we have further instructions about how to rig those up on our Saving Swifts guide as well. Very good news for homeowners and property owners and managers is that swifts are absolutely immaculate. They can't afford to build up lots of sort of material in a nest, so they actually carry all their own poo away from the nest, and the chicks poo, and they actually carry them in little packages and they drop them far from the nest. So unlike swallows in your tool shed or your turf shed or house martins under your fascia up in the eaves of your house, there's not lots of droppings on your windowsills and on your pathways. So from that point of view, if you're thinking about putting up boxes and you're worried about mess, or you think you have swifts in the house or in the roof or whatever, and you're worried about mess building up, it's not an issue. They're actually a really easy sell in that sense. Then they're not a huge early risers because they're waiting for the insects to get up into the air column, so you don't hear them at sort of 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning like you would blackbirds and things like that. So they get up a bit later in the morning, they have a feed close to the nest. You'll hear them whizzing by in towns, but really their sound blends into this kind of the urban soundscape. You really hear people commenting on the loudness or its presence, so we don't find that as a problem at all. We should care because the species are so unique. They're part of our natural heritage. They've been here a very long time. They've been here before us, so I think there's a responsibility on us and an onus on us to protect them and look after them. Another very practical reason is the service they provide us in keeping the number of biting insects down. You wouldn't be able to sort of survive or sit out having your barbecue in the evenings if we'd no swifts and swallows and bats sort of gobbling up all those insects. We'd just be clouds of midges and mosquitoes everywhere, so they're really important in that way as well.
With the arrival of August, a race against the clock begins. The young tip out of the nest and are instantly flying, and once they take off, they never look back, probably flying non-stop for the next 3 years. So in the months of May to August, on a clear summer's evening, cast your eyes skyward as they call out to you, and raise a glass to this international aerial acrobat on its endless journey, and to seeing it back in Roscommon next summer.